Welcome to Crime 709. My name is Andrea, and we have the lovely
Alicia.
Today we are going to be talking about a crime of the century is what we're calling it. It is something that is gruesome. It's terrifying. It's upsetting. It has puzzled the people of Newfoundland for almost 38 years now. Who is it?
That is Dana Bradley.
So who was Dana?
Dana was a 14-year-old girl. Her stepfather, Jeff, said that she was a bright and a very social child.
Just a normal gal?
Just a normal gal.
What did she look like? I think she had blonde hair. Blue eyes?
Oh my goodness. I don't know.
We'll put up a picture of her on the Facebook page.
We will.
By the way, if you're not following our Facebook page, you need to. It is at Crime 709.
That's right. Twitter, same thing, Crime 709. Instagram at Crime 709.
We're going to be posting a couple things throughout the whole podcast.
Absolutely.
About Dana Bradley. So we're going to have pictures of her up there. We're going to have where the crime allegedly took place, which we know was near Topsail Road.
That's right. Just like where the Tim Hortons used to be. So just across the road, you can see that bus shelter. Just right there.
So what do we know about Dana Bradley? We know that she was 14 years old when she was abducted.
That's right. She was reported missing December 14th in 1981.
1981. That's a long time
That's right.
ago. Where were you in 1981?
Oh, God. I was probably not even a thought.
We were just little wisps floating around in the air.
Somewhere. We didn't exist.
We didn't exist.
No, we didn't exist. But we still love this case.
That we do. That we really do.
So I just want to, we'll just give like a brief rundown, you think?
Let's do it.
So it's Dana Bradley. She was 14 years old. She was found in St. John's, Maddox Cove Road, 4 days after she was reported missing. When they found her body, they reported the cause of death as the head trauma, and she was sexually assaulted.
This is very tragic.
It is.
So 14 years old, like, what was she doing then what was she doing out to be, like, I guess, this abduction? Essentially, I guess I don't think it was an abduction, sorry. I think it was, like, a hitchhiking gone wrong. So
like, she was at a friend's house earlier in the day, and she told her friend that she wanted to leave, and she was going to head home for her mom's birthday party, or her grandmother's birthday party. Let me just double check.
I think you're onto something. I think it was her mother's birthday party, but she did telephone her grandmother before she left her friend's house, which is reported to have been on Curry Place or Curry Street.
Yeah, Curry Street.
Curry Place in St. John's. So it was not very far from the bus stop on Topsail Road, which was across, like you said, from the former Tim Hortons. Right. It was a beautifully restructured building, which houses hair salon products, and it's very lovely. So she was on her way to celebrate her mom's birthday, telephoned grandma.
Yep, said she was on her way home.
On the way home now.
That's right. On the way. Gonna have some of that cake.
Can't wait. What are we having for supper?
Exactly.
Don't know.
Don't have a clue.
And unfortunately, this young girl would never know what they were going to have for supper. This is actually very tragic now that I'm thinking about it.
It is. It's really terrible.
It's really sad. So this is it. This is a mystery. This whole thing is a mystery. We don't know what happened, how she ended up from Topsail Road to Maddox Cove Road.
No.
It has been reported that she was seen... it's been reported that she was seen by two witnesses, Harry Smeaton and John Smeaton, both from Gander, who were selling Christmas trees in a parking lot very nearby.
Yeah, just like 25 to 30 feet away.
Yes.
So they've seen it all.
It's crazy. And so I think at that close range, you could probably see the outlines of people or the outlines of a person, but probably not fine details.
No, I can't imagine.
No.
I don't think so.
I can't even see your face right now, so...
Well, I mean, we do have mics in front of our faces.
This is very true.
It's just like playing peekaboo over here.
But, so, the boys that did see her did claim to have seen a man in the driver's seat of that car.
Right, and they also said they did not see anybody in the back seat. And keep that in mind for later on when we talk about like a report that came forward afterwards. You're going to want to remember that the two witnesses did not see anybody in the back seat.
That's right.
Yeah.
So she was allegedly abducted. Oh, wow, I said that completely wrong.
Allegedly.
Allegedly abducted. Okay.
you want me to say it?
You
She was
say it.
allegedly abducted.
Around
That's right.
5:20 p.m. And keep in mind, December 14th, pretty dark.
So dark.
You're coming around the darkest day of the whole year, which I think is the 20th of
Maybe
December.
21st? I have no idea.
I don't know either.
Either way, we're close
We're
enough.
going to say.
Yeah.
This winter solstice,
Exactly.
I'm sure. You can't see anything.
No.
And certainly not on Topsail Road. You're thinking about all those headlights, all those cars coming at you. I wouldn't be able to see
No.
what was coming at me. They did describe the vehicle, though.
Yeah. It was like a 4-door. Was it a Dart?
It was a
Or
Dodge
a
Dart
Plymouth?
Valiant.
Yep.
Is that what it was?
That's right.
A Valiant.
It was a 1973 to 1976 Dodge Dart or a Plymouth Valiant 4-door sedan.
So, I mean, I really have no idea what those vehicles look like because I'm sure I don't even know anyone who owns a car like that anymore.
Absolutely not. But we can definitely find a picture and post it up on our Facebook page.
We will.
I think that's a good
Just
idea.
in case you know anyone who has one of these cars or did have one in 1981.
Exactly.
I'm sure pretty well everyone had one. And in fact, I remember reading something saying that there was about 2,000 vehicles which were seized by the police for investigation.
Yeah.
Because it was a very popular model, I think, around that time. Year.
And they tried everything. I mean, even going and knocking on people's doors that own this car, one of those cars, and even anybody associated with them that may have driven that car.
Right.
They even tracked those guys down.
I think they even managed to track people down who were from Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. I feel
Yep.
like they went out of Newfoundland to look for these.
Absolutely.
For someone who drove this
I
vehicle.
think they said they had like 250 like prime suspects,
What?
but thousands of people were interviewed, and
Oh, wow, I did not know that.
yeah, absolutely, it was a lot. And yeah, it's 250 prime suspects, thousands of people were interviewed, and there was tons of leads that they actually pursued.
And what's crazy to even think about, I know we're jumping ahead, but there are still hundreds of leads
Right.
that they're working on daily.
We are jumping ahead. We didn't even say what happened to her.
We didn't. Okay.
Well, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Let's go back.
So after we'll break it down.
Right.
So Dana Bradley is at her friend's house on Curry Place.
Yes.
She leaves around 5 o'clock,
Trotting down
however
the road.
long takes to get from Curry Place to Topsail Road.
I think I could be making this up, so if I am making this up, don't be mad at me, anybody. But
Or
I
definitely
think-
tweet her and be mad. It's
Yes,
okay.
Tweet me mad. I don't know. Don't be too mad though. But I'm pretty sure it was said that she was going to get the bus.
Exactly.
But I think at the last minute, these two boys, the Smeatons, saw that she had decided then to change her mind,
Yep.
stuck her thumb out.
Exactly.
And a car just rolled along, picked her up, and then off she goes.
But something interesting about that car is the Smeaton brothers, they said, well, she did stick out her thumb. This car pulled up almost immediately, and he had to open the door from the inside
So
to let her in.
reach
So he had to
across.
they witnessed him reaching across to open the door to let her in.
Maybe the car door was locked from the inside.
It's possible.
Or from the outside, maybe, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe he's being a gentleman, and I'm using air quotes for that one because,
We know what happened.
right? But I mean, like, you think about, like, someone opening up the car door for you,
Yeah.
they're kind of like, oh, let me help you out with that.
Right.
Maybe
And-
she have stuff in her arms.
You
I
know
don't
what? They
know.
didn't even have power windows in 80, right? So, I mean, he couldn't just roll down the window and be like, hey, do you want to ride?
Yeah.
He probably had to open the door and be like, where are you going? I want to take you. So maybe it wasn't really anything wrong with the door.
Exactly.
It's speculation at this point.
It's very interesting that he hauled up right away, though.
Yeah. Right away.
You wonder if he was following her. Now, this is just my...
We don't know.
We don't know this. This is not fact.
No.
But I'm thinking,
Absolutely.
in my own brain, maybe he was following her to have seen her right away haul over. I mean, and then
Or-
again, he could have been completely a stranger.
A stranger or someone that she knew and maybe had lined up a ride with. She didn't necessarily, when she called her grandmother, she didn't say, I'm taking the bus. She just said,
That's
I'm
true.
on the way.
That's so true.
So we don't know.
that.
Because she did get in so quick into the car. She didn't really hesitate much.
Right. Maybe she said, like, hey, I'll meet you by the bus stop.
Absolutely. And then she was going to head home.
But I mean, who arranges a ride and then puts their thumb out? I don't know.
Shot down.
Yeah.
Well,
Fizzle that one out. of
well,
the
there
sky.
goes that.
But I mean,
But
it's a
either
very
way,
good idea.
Yes. I mean, it's possible. Who knows?
Moving on. Moving right along. So then we know what happened. Okay, that's all we know that happened from there. She got in the car. A man
Right?
is reported to have reached across the car seat.
Open
She
up the
got
door. She got in. Went
Zip
on.
away.
That's it.
So Then 4 days later, on December the 18th, 1981, remember, this is a very long time ago.
Oh, I would also like to add in there, before we go to the 4 days ahead.
Okay.
The night that she did go missing, when her parents reported her missing, they also said that the cops couldn't do much at that time because it was basically it was still a possible runaway and not necessarily an abduction or anything sinister. She was 14. Anything could have happened.
And I feel like, isn't there a certain time frame for it to report a missing person as well?
I think it's 3 days. But I'm not sure if it's different for children. But is she technically considered a child when she's 14?
And in 1981?
Yeah.
Like,
hitchhiking was a regular thing.
Such a regular thing. And, I mean, I think, like, a 14-year-old in 1981, like, certainly I know that lots of people are more mature and lots of people are less mature, but I feel like a 14-year-old in 1981, considering hitchhiking was an okay thing, she might have been really streetwise. We don't know.
Absolutely.
Maybe she was super smart about these things and was like, yeah, I do this all the time. I'm going to get my way home. So she just easily got into the car with this person.
Totally. But anyways, you continue what you were saying. What happened on December 18th, 1981?
On December the 18th, 1981, she was found by a man named Dale Smith.
That's right.
Who went Christmas tree hunting. I know you don't really hunt for Christmas trees, but you do go in the woods with like an axe. So if you're not, you're technically killing a tree.
Well, right. And this is a murder podcast.
So he was hunting.
He was hunting.
He was really hunting.
He was hunting a Christmas tree.
He's going to have to wrangle that Christmas tree. And
That's right.
Take it home to his family.
You never know what could happen. He needed to be prepared.
And honestly, I don't know if he even got his Christmas tree after, because
That's correct.
Instead of finding the Christmas tree, he found Dana Bradley.
Exactly. But also, what I would like to point out about that is he was in with his family. So he had his twin daughters, I think, with him. Was it? Yes. So he had his family with him. And apparently this area, according to this man, is like a dumping ground. Like, people don't want to go to the dump, so they throw all their stuff in this, like, pit.
Yeah.
And so there had been some, like, kids' toys laying around.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yes. So then, like, the toys caught the attention of his 4-year-old twins, and he went over to check it out, and then that's when he found Dana. So he just rushed the family out right away and then called the police.
Oh, my God. That is absolutely mortifying.
So I'm not sure about, if the girls had seen anything. Hopefully they didn't, and they were just distracted by the toys.
Hopefully.
I mean,
like, and even in all of that, I'm hoping that at that age you don't really know what you're looking at anyway.
Exactly.
Maybe they just, if they did see, maybe it was just somebody sleeping.
Exactly. Just taking a nap. And I think, taking a nap is also kind of symbolic, I guess, as well, like, of how she was found. Yeah. She very well could have been taking a nap.
That's true. Tell us how she was found.
Well, she was found. So, first of all, cause of death is
multiple blunt force trauma.
Blows to the head.
Right.
And also sexual assault. Which obviously, or not obviously, but that didn't lead to the death. The multiple blows to the head led to the death. But what really fucks me up about this whole thing, and I mean, like, this, out of anything, I mean, the multiple blows to the head is terrible. The sexual assault, you can't imagine. But the extra
twist on top.
Yeah, and the cherry on top was that this fucker, whoever he is, wherever you are, cleaned her face, dressed her in her school clothes, and then tucked her school books back underneath her arm.
That is unbelievable.
As if she was just having a nap. I'm going to wake up the next day and go to school. But we know that didn't happen. And that's what really, out of everything, even this person is still not, they haven't been found today, but that, I think, is the most horrific detail of this entire thing.
What's really interesting about that, too, and I know I read similar
articles?
Articles saying that what they label that as is burial style, or burial fashion.
Right, like you'd be laid out in a funeral home.
Right, so she's dressed and she's ready to go, kind of typically like you would, like you said, being in an open casket.
Yeah.
So you're right, that is actually terrifying, because to me, and these are only my ideas about this, but to dress somebody means you either maybe are in denial about the fact that all of this just happened. Maybe
Exactly.
you're in denial about the fact that this murder just took place. And you're trying to cover up that whole thing and just move on from it.
Yeah, you just want to pretend like it didn't happen.
Fine.
She's fine. I'm going to leave her here.
She'll wake up.
She'll go home. And then we don't have to worry about this anymore.
Right. Another thing that I was thinking about, too, for someone to lay someone out like that is maybe he was somebody who was very sympathetic of this. Like, very apologetic and maybe someone who knew her and felt a little bit of respect towards her.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I mean, that kind of in line with our theory on maybe if he knew her and followed her.
Right.
And was ready for the hitchhike thing.
It's possible.
Do you think?
I mean, anything. Because so much has happened, anything at this point is possible. And it could be anyone, really. It could be anyone's grandfather.
Oh my God, absolutely. It could be anyone's father.
Right. And I felt like also, in case this person is a father.
Right.
Maybe that could be another reason because...
Absolutely. Like thinking about, okay, I definitely wouldn't want my child to be laid out like this.
Right.
I'm sorry. That's just so confusing, conflicting because...
Yeah.
How would you even do this to another child or someone else's child? I don't know. Do you think he was a father? Like that?
It shows care. Right? It does show a bit of care. And also, I don't want to bring other murders into this. Well, it is a murder podcast, so we may as well. But you will see, I don't know, serial killers, all this. And people go, oh, I just can't believe it was him. He would mow the lady next door's lawn. Oh, yeah. He had a wife. He had kids. Right. Like, he was the most caring. Ted Bundy, he volunteered at a suicide crisis, like a helpline.
Yeah.
He talked people out of...
Killing themselves,
but then went out and killed people. So really, I guess until we know who committed this crime, we're really never going to know what he was thinking at the time.
That's just very true.
Well, for me.
No. Well, and for me either.
Right. We're certainly not... What are they called?
We weren't alive in 1981.
And we're not profilers.
Oh my God. Heavens to Bertroid. We're not profilers.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
New career choice.
Yep. All right. We're contacting the local college and we're getting ourselves switched over to that.
All right. So,
yes. So then she was found in that fashion, burial fashion. The police came.
Right.
And they, obviously did all their investigating.
Yeah, it all started. It was Jack Lavers. Is that how you say his name?
I'm not sure. Lavers.
Something. He was either way. He was the RCMP's chief investigator at the time of that crime. So he took on the case mostly. They had a huge team. Like 35 investigators. Everybody was working on this. There was, like I said, 250 prime suspects. There was thousands of people interviewed. The amount of people that did polygraphs for this test, it's unbelievable. Millions of dollars, I think, were spent on this investigation. I don't feel like this was a case where the police would have dropped the ball.
No, and what's really interesting about this case too is that this is not and never has been a cold case according to the police. Right. This is still something that they research every day. Yep. They're in, I think the last I read was that they were in the works of updating everything from paper to electronic, so they have easier access and easier database information for maybe other police people. Right. The police people.
The police people.
So the police people are going to figure it all out, I'm sure, one of these days.
So, did you know, you probably did know, we've done the same research, that when they found Dana and the police did their initial, investigation, at the crime scene, they found that there was hardly any useful DNA. So that was a cold, right? There was hardly anything there. But they had to do the autopsy to determine that she had the blunt force trauma and also that she was sexually assaulted. That didn't really come out until the autopsy.
So what, was it not visible? Could they not tell right away at the crime scene that she was murdered by blunt force trauma? Was that something that was really
maybe it didn't come out until after the autopsy? Maybe that wasn't it
was secret information.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't media ready.
Right.
Until after the autopsy.
And you know what? Honestly, in researching this case, there is not a lot that they give out.
No.
Nobody gives anything out because I think where it is not a cold case, they still are trying to follow certain leads. They still have secrets that they don't want to let out because just in case they find the person and that person gives them information that nobody else has.
Right.
I think it's all relevant.
Absolutely. And I think, too, we're such a small province. For anyone listening that is not a local or from Newfoundland and Labrador, we are super tiny island. And
very widespread.
Yeah.
Lots of tiny communities.
Absolutely.
But not a lot of people.
Right. And I mean, everyone knows someone. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, you are probably friends with your neighbor who's friends with your mother who's friends with their uncles, brothers, sisters.
For the rest of the world, it's 7 degrees of separation. For Newfoundland, it's like 2 degrees of separation.
Right.
You know, everyone...
That's what I'm trying to get to, but I just couldn't get there.
Well, we got there together.
Oh, thank you.
I'm happy.
Yeah, so, like, you know, just in case they did let anything out, I mean, who knows? It would be very easy if this person didn't pay much attention to the news or didn't whatever. It would spread like wildfire.
Absolutely. I'm just wondering now what this person is thinking. Like, I mean, it's been 38 years. 38 or 37?
37, I think.
Almost 38 years. 37 years. I mean, like, if that person
This is not our strong suit math.
No, we don't do math.
No.
I don't do math. If that person was, like, 20 when he abducted her.
Right,
so he'd be 57 now. Mm-hmm. But what about if he was 50 when he abducted her?
Right, like
he could very well have passed away at this point in time, and maybe we'll never know.
Absolutely.
Which is super scary.
So I think then we're just going to have to depend on the family. Mm-hmm. Family, friends, anybody that knows anything, or even if you remember something as a small child.
Right.
To come forward and say something. But, yeah, who knows? We don't know.
Exactly. As a reminder, if anyone does know anything about this or has witnessed anything, you can 100% call our local police office. It's for the area code, which I'm sure you all know because it's in the name of the podcast.
But we do have 2 area codes now.
Oh my god, what?
Or we will. It's
Crime 709. We're not changing it.
No.
So 709-729-8000. That's our local police office. As well, you can contact Crime Stoppers.
That's right.
Which is another Newfoundland thing that we have on the go. It's 1-800-222-TIPS.
Yep.
8477. That's what TIPS is. But if anyone has any information, if anyone's thinking, oh yeah, I remember seeing so and such in that car. I know that this has been researched so many times, and so many books have been, written about this. I know I'm really itching to read this book. It's called, I don't know if you've heard of it.
I have heard of it.
Hitchin' a Ride.
That's right. I'm excited to read it myself.
Actually, we should have read that.
I mean, let's just, we'll read it.
We're going to read it before the next podcast.
We'll keep you updated. We absolutely should have read it. But I think the NTV News also did like a 7-part series about it. And Ron Hines wrote a song about the ghost of Dana Bradley. Listen to it. It's very...
We'll post it.
Absolutely.
We'll post it.
Haunting.
And there's also a website on Facebook as well for Justice for Dana. That's another thing that if anyone has any tips, hints... Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of the time people are going to these pages just to do research for their own curiosity. Yeah. But at the same time, you might have been in Newfoundland at that point in time, 1981, and then we're driving along the road. I mean, I think it was a popular car. I think it was late at night. I think that this is obviously a difficult case for all those specific reasons, and the fact that the person didn't leave a lot of DNA behind.
Right. And I don't even really know how big DNA was back in 1981.
Oh my god.
But I can't imagine it's as advanced as it is today. Like, no. I can't imagine.
I don't think it was.
I think they were...
I think they just recently did some DNA testing and were able to actually, exclude...
a few people.
Yes.
But before we get to that...
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Because it's very interesting.
Okay.
But first, I think we need to talk about David Somerton.
David Somerton. In 1986, David Somerton was maybe a suspect. Now, I'm not entirely sure if he was or wasn't, but he did make a confession.
Yes, he did make a confession. So, 1986, I guess the police got what they thought was going to be this big break. Mm-hmm. So, David Somerton, who is an ex-con, said that he murdered... They actually received a note.
What?
Yeah. So, it says here, they received an anonymous note pinning the murder on an ex-con named David Somerton.
Okay.
Right. So
he was framed at first.
Well, I think it is that way, but I feel like maybe he was framed, but I think he came forward with it at the same time.
Okay.
Like, I don't think he hesitated.
Right.
But
he was like, you know what? Maybe I did do it.
Right.
This is weird. I don't know who would do that.
I have no idea. So, basically, when he was hauled in to be questioned...
Mm-hmm. As you would be.
Right. He says that he was basically beaten into submission. Not physically beaten, but just, like, harped on until he finally gave in.
Harassed, essentially.
Harassed, yeah. And he said that he was telling them, this is a quote, "I started telling them where the car was, and then I'm telling them where the murder weapon was," says Somerton.
Right. And I feel like I remember that he had mentioned that the murder weapon and the car were disposed of at Robin Hood Bay, the waste facility.
Right, but... Well, I think the car was Robin Hood Bay, but the knife was where the body was found.
Wait a second. Back it on up. What knife? There was no knife. So how did that even get into police?
Do you think I just made up knife?
You may.
Do you think I said knife and I should have said weapon?
You could say...
Because I don't think we know yet.
We don't know.
I don't think
we
know
actually
what
still don't know what the murder weapon is. But
I don't think we know.
If he claims it was a knife,
well, no, I don't want to say that he claims knife. I want to say that I've listened to too many murder podcasts, and I'm saying knife.
Okay.
So we're gonna go ahead and
we're erasing knife.
We're gonna edit this out later.
We'll edit that out,
and we're gonna say weapon. So he says that the car was in the dump, and the weapon is buried where the body was found.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, just to clear that up.
Just clearing it up.
Yeah, we don't need haters.
So we definitely don't need any haters. This is our first podcast, you guys.
That's right.
Don't hate on us yet.
Yeah, it's our absolute first.
Welcome to our very first podcast. But I'm not sure if you already mentioned this. I'm just going to say it again. But he later recanted.
Absolutely,
you did say that.
Yep, he did. So I just want to break it down. Break down
Before
David.
we get into that.
Yes.
Or maybe you're going to say it right now.
Oh, maybe? I don't know.
He was charged.
Uh-huh.
You were going to say this.
I don't know.
He was charged for public mischief and was jailed for 2 years because of this false confession.
Absolutely.
You can't just confess to something you didn't do.
And And face nothing.
Right.
So, David Somerton says that he committed the crime.
Yes.
He is the murderer, essentially. Mm-hmm. But he is a convicted criminal already, and he had a violent past. It's not a far stretch.
No.
Right. So, and the Smeaton brothers, from 25 to 30 feet away, managed to make
good pictures.
A description, yeah. So the police made a sketch. And what he looked like in 86 closely resembled the police sketch. Right, so...
Should we put that up on the Facebook page?
Absolutely.
We'll try.
We'll try our best. We'll find it, I'm sure. And he tells the police, so while he's being interrogated or interviewed, however it is, he tells the police how he committed the murder, and that actually was consistent with what the police knew. So, it's more like, it's not just like, hey, I killed her, and now I didn't. It's like, hey, I killed her. This is how. I look like this guy. And I know things about the crime that you know, but nobody else knows. So it's more than just like the anonymous tip, right? It's a little bit more...
Right.
Yeah.
More detail, more precise.
Right. So they kind of really wanted to get him for the murder. Like, they thought they had their guy.
We wish.
Yeah, we totally wish.
But, alack and alas...
Innocent until proven guilty.
Right. And I feel like they probably put him in jail for 2 years for this false confession because they wasted so much of their actual time. Like, this was real good time. And 86, not that far away from 81. It's still, it's still a little fresh in people's minds. I know we've had some, crime happening here lately. And to be honest with you, I don't really remember it, even though it took place like a year ago. We will definitely dive into those crimes.
Yep. Future podcasts.
Future podcasts.
Future.
But, ding. But if we... I feel like 5 years is not that long for people to forget. He
No.
did waste their time.
He absolutely wasted their time.
2 years.
2 years. So, I guess people at home might be wondering, what the hell? Mm-hmm. How did this guy get off? He's saying all these things. He matches all these sketches. How? So basically, the police had already searched the area where her body was found.
Yep.
So they went in and they cleared the land completely. They cleared it.
They did a scrape.
Gone. Psh, wiped off the map, looking for this murder weapon. Because they believed that it would be there.
Oh my God.
So, with the land being cleared and that thorough search that they did, they cleared like all the trees, all the brush, they dug everything up, but they found nothing.
Do you think that like maybe messed a little bit with the crime scene?
I mean, I would think, but they said it was already searched thoroughly, so you kind of have to believe them that, they did do what they needed to do in the beginning. And then, then they had to go to the dump.
Right.
Obviously, because that's where he said the car was. Mm-hmm. And so basically they spent $1 million digging up the dump and searching the sites. But again, nothing was found. So they didn't find they didn't find the car in the dump either. And because they had no hard evidence, they had nothing to back up his confession. So he recanted.
It's amazing that you can confess to something.
Right.
First of all, to confess to something like that, like, I feel as though I would not, even if I was, if I was guilty, yes, I would confess.
Right.
Obviously. Mm-hmm. If I was not guilty, I would not confess. Like,
No.
I didn't do it.
No.
You can tell me that I did it till the cows come home. I did not do it.
Right.
I know in my own conscience that I did not do it.
And even some people that have done it,
Maybe
they still say that they didn't do it.
Right.
Like, I just don't feel like you would ever say you did it when you did not do it.
I know. People do it all the time.
And you're already convicted. You're already convicted of a violent, crime.
Yeah.
What do you think this is going to do for you?
Certainly make you look good.
Yeah.
Probably.
So, do you know why they only charged him, with mischief? Do you know why they didn't bother keeping him any longer?
Oh my God, no.
Oh, well, let me tell you.
Okay.
Are you interested?
I am super interested. Tell me.
Perfect. Let me tell you a direct quote from Lavers, who, by the way, is now a local St. John's lawyer and no longer the lead investigator on this case.
The lead investigator, just in case anyone is interested, I don't know, maybe they're not, is Detective Kent Osmond.
Right.
And if you have any information, you can contact him.
Absolutely. Sure. So Lavers here, he said, this is a quote, "We didn't want to go to trial and have him tried and acquitted of murder if subsequent scientific investigations or other investigations were going to be forthcoming down the road that would lead to a better prosecution." So basically, if they charge him for anything now, and then finally they did find hard evidence, they wouldn't be able to do anything else about it.
Oh.
That's what I'm taking from it. But I mean,
I guess maybe it's harder to reopen a case that's technically, I'm using air quotes, solved.
I don't know if you can retry someone for the same thing twice.
If anyone knows that,
we don't know. We don't know. We didn't go to school for this. We just love it.
We just love it.
We just have this weird obsession with true crime. And we found each other.
I know, isn't that weird?
Isn't that crazy?
How did we find each other?
I have no idea, and I would not have pegged you for a true crime junkie.
Oh my God, this is so much fun.
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm so excited. Okay, on with the case. Okay, so he was charged with public mischief, which we already mentioned, and he served only 2 years in jail. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything more about Somerton that you would like to add?
I don't have anything about Somerton, but I do know that another man did serve crime for this.
Right.
But it wasn't crime for confession or anything like that. This man was harassing the Bradley family through cruel phone calls and whatnot. Yep. So he did serve 9 months in jail
For, like, harassment?
For harassment.
Yeah.
Because you can't call the family. We're not going to call the family.
You can't be at that by.
I'm not doing it. Like, they've been through enough.
Give it up.
Let the police deal with what they've got to deal with.
Absolutely.
We will love to shine some light on the situation and help in any way, shape, form possible to get people to come forward with any information at all.
Absolutely.
But we're not interested in contacting the family. They've been through enough.
And I would also like to point out, just while we're taking a little break from the facts here,
yes.
I would also like to point out that although we may seem upbeat and chipper,
yes, we're very upbeat and chipper.
like, we are not at all trying to make a joke out of anything that's happened.
100%.
We take this 100% seriously. We would love to see justice for Dana Bradley, and we want to do anything we can to make that happen. It's just our personalities just don't allow for
seriousness.
I mean, we giggled the whole time before we pressed record.
I think both of our faces were bright red.
Absolutely.
And we were just too giddy.
And I think I'm blushing again now.
I'm blushing too.
Okay, let's keep going.
Okay. So we know what's happened with all this, but after that, there's been a couple of strange revelations and things have happened.
Very strange.
But you know what, Alicia?
What is that, Andrea?
Should we save it for another podcast?
I think we should. And I think that I would like to end this podcast a little bit with a quote from that suspect, or now no longer a suspect,
right?
David Somerton. Would you like to hear what he told W5?
You betcha.
Okay, so this is his account of what happened. After being there for 18 hours, and I knew that I was flipping out on them and on myself, because I was in a suicidal state in that room. I was doing anything to get them off my back, to make it out of that room, including confessing, and I've been regretting it ever since.
End quote.
And yeah, end quotes.
Amazing.
I know. I don't see it.
I'll never understand it.
No. So I think we'll do this again next week.
We will definitely do this again next week. This was so much fun.
It was absolutely fun. And I think next week we'll also talk about, like, where the case has gone since then. What new evidence has been presented?
Yes.
What new suspects have been crossed off the list? Or, sorry, old suspects have been crossed off the list?
And some strange things that have popped up in between. There's a lot going on with this case in recent years that I'd love to dive into, because that's a whole podcast in and of itself.
Oh my god, definitely.
So much.
And do you want to just do, like, a quick recap of, like, straight up facts?
Let's do the quick recap.
Okay.
Love it.
All right, so I'll go ahead first. We have, like, Dana Bradley, 14 years old, missing on Topsail Road, December 14th, 1981. Found.
Right. Found December 18th,
That's right.
1981, 4 days after. In a wooded area off Maddox Cove Road.
Yep.
Was reportedly seen getting into a 73 to 76 Dodge Dart or Plymouth Valiant.
Right. Four-door.
Yeah. Sedan.
Right. Cause of death, numerous blows to the head. Also sexual assault to go with that. And still 36, 7, 8 years later, because we're not mathematicians here, it's still unsolved. So any information, send it over to Crime Stoppers, send it over to the local RCMP or RNC, anyone you can get a hold of, really.
Yes.
And follow us.
Yes, follow us.
Twitter.
On Facebook. Crime709.
Right. Twitter, @Crime709.
Yes. We have a whole, and you know what?
Instagram. You can even
Crime709.
You can even email us. Do people email?
No, nobody's going to email us.
But you know what you could do?
You could us.
Absolutely. And also email us if you wanted to give us some tips, if you want to give us some more information to add to our next podcast, maybe something we can go back on. Something that can, like, longer winded than a tweet.
Yes, I do love that. If anyone has any recommendations at all. And of course, keep in mind too, this is our first podcast. We do have a couple of podcasts, ideas set up for our, for the full rest of the year, essentially. But we love new ideas.
Absolutely.
If anyone out there has any local cases in any remote areas of Newfoundland that you want covered, that would be interesting for us to go into and research, send it our way. We want to know what's happening in Newfoundland.
We want to know. We want to know everything.
We want to know everything.
We eat this shit up. Anyways, if you're not here when we come back next time, it's been a slice.
It's been a slice.